Hi guys, we're just over at the section quickly this morning. It's actually Jada's birthday today and we're having a little bit of an afternoon tea for him, but we're also running low on firewood, so we thought we would pop here and quickly grab some bits and pieces. And so I thought I'd give you a quick update of where we're at the moment. It's a little bit hard to grab the camera and remember to take it with us when we're actually doing stuff. Things do actually take twice as long if we've got the camera with us than if we're just chewing through and doing it. And the reality is we're trying to get this place, especially the gardens and the tunnel house, set up before springtime. So we're really battling with the winter weather, and today is no exception. It's quite windy. Yesterday it poured with rain, and I was hoping to get some more done on the tunnel house. Have you got any questions about what we're up to here, where we're at, where to from here? Please stick them in the comments down below. I love hearing your ideas. Have you got any opinions on things we could change or do? Please let me know. So far me and the children have squared up exactly where it needs to go and work out where the levels go, and so we've managed to get some weed mat down around the outside and to get the first lot of pegs in. And there is a wee bit of a drop from the right hand side, the long side, down to the left hand side, which is not the end of the world. We've just built it up here with a little bit of retaining timber, and we'll be able to bring the dirt up to there, and then it'll be nice and level. And the upside to having it level is that it hopefully will sit straight, and it should help with the water distribution when we're watering the plants as well. I've just had to redo the sound for this because it was so windy. The sound is absolutely terrible. This is why it's great to hire professionals that know what they're doing. This swale here, the digger driver put in all by himself without being asked. He's done a fantastic job. He's put it in because he knows that the water will run down. There's a bit of a slope here, and this swale will stop the water from flooding into the tunnel house. So he's done a great job doing that for us. This is the site of the tunnel house, and it is about 5 meters wide. I think it's a 16-foot tunnel house, and it's 65 feet long, which is just shy of 20 meters long. So it's ever so slightly less than 100 square meters or 1,000 square feet. Now down by the cabin where we're going to be putting the cabin, we have developed a pond with all the rain we've been having. Which the upside to that is it means that we realise that we need to put some decent drainage in around here if we're going to be putting some kind of cabin that we're going to be camping in. And eventually that'll be where we put our barn for the animals. So again, we're going to need to sort out the drainage issues there. At the moment, this big pile of wood mulch, I guess you'd call it, it's mostly bark and sticks. We're still wanting to get that moved up to where we're going to be having the food forest and the vegetable gardens. And we've asked our digger driver to give us a bit of an update of where he is up to money-wise, because the kitty is not endless, and whilst we want to get it as set up as we can before we move here, the reality is heavy machinery is really expensive to be running. So we're trying to prioritise what things we're going to get done now versus what things we can do later, and versus what things probably don't matter too much. So we're focusing mostly on driveways and access, that sort of thing, and drainage, ponds, anything that's going to basically make life significantly easier if we do it first. And obviously levelling out a patch for us to put this cabin thing on for us to live in the short term while we sort out what we're going to do about a house. One of the problems where the digger has started digging out for our original cabin site was that he discovered a whole lot of buried logs, which I was going to show you, but now they're covered in water. But when they logged here, they've stuck a whole lot of logs down wherever the ground was boggy so that the trucks didn't get stuck in the bog. But you can't pour a concrete slab on top of a whole lot of pine logs just stuck in the ground. So we've actually had to change where our cabin's going, only by a few meters, but me and the kids have pegged that out as well so he can start scraping it clear. And I'm not sure exactly what to do, but we're going to have to do something about the drainage over there, because he's putting a ring road right around the outside, which means if we don't put some kind of exit drain, it's basically going to turn into a massive pond as well. And our results from our soil test came back, and so I have just spent about $1,000 on amendments for just the 300 square metres that we're going to have as a tunnel house and some fruit trees and the vegetable garden. I'm sure we're going to need probably a crap ton more, but this will get us started, and hopefully it will amend the soil enough that we can actually get some plants in the ground in springtime and get a decent harvest next season. I expect it will be a long, slow process, and that we will have to keep building the soil over many years to come. This is the kids' play area that they're building at the moment, and I've actually suggested that they dam off the back, and we could make this into a little pond as well, because it very naturally collects water, and they've already got a great little bridge on it. The digger driver he's made the new pond significantly larger, and it's much better. It's still not actually as big as I'd hoped, but when I see where the levels of the water are compared to the slope of the land, it's probably realistically about as big as we can get it without it becoming a major earthworks issue. So I think what we'll end up doing is making a couple of smaller ponds just sort of downhill from it, so one can feed into the other and then into the next, and they'll be a lot smaller undertakings and hopefully a little cheaper, or possibly, if we get ourselves a mini digger or a tractor, something that we can do ourselves. This area is currently a culvert, and I think we should dam off the end and turn it into a pond, because obviously it's where the water wants to collect. Over here are the barrels that we used for our Matariki bonfire celebration, and I'm just going to check in there and see how much biochar was left. What we did at the end of the night was just crammed it full as much as we could. We didn't have a chainsaw with us, so they were big long sticks, which is unfortunate. I would have rather packed it full with sort of foot long, a lot of sticks, and hopefully made a whole lot more biochar. Well, charcoal. Eventually I'll soak it and then it'll be biochar. I would like these 4 barrels to be full of it so that we can use it in our garden. So we're going to have to bring the chainsaw and cut up some of these sticks so that they actually fit in a bit better. But it's a good start and something for us to get started with anyway. Up here we've also set up our very first compost bin. We've been getting free wood shavings, which seems a little over the top when we've got all this bark here as well. But we use it as bedding for the animals, and we've been getting free feed for the chickens and for the pigs, and every now and again we get too much and we can't keep on top of it. So instead of it becoming a pollution issue and just tipping it out for it to feed pests or get really stanky, we've combined those two things and put them in this compost bin. So it's just a layer of wood, sawdust, wood shavings, I guess they are, more than sawdust, and then a layer of fairly putrid food scraps, and then another big thick layer of the pine shavings. And we will just keep doing that whenever we have excess, and I'll be able to add to that our bedding from the animal sheds, and I'm hoping to end up with a whole lot of big compost bins to be able to provide our own compost. In the short term, we will probably be bringing in a couple of truckloads of compost, particularly to get this tunnel house up and running, but I'm very wary of accidentally getting contaminated compost. So we'll definitely be growing some beans in it, just in some pots to start with. Pick a few select sort of areas out of the pile so they're not all coming from one patch, and grow some beans in it just to make sure we don't have contaminated stuff before we go to all the effort of filling up the tunnel house with it. So the other thing I have in here, which is hundreds and hundreds of little Kanuka seedlings. They're a native, I think they're actually tea tree, but I need to check. I think that's the same thing. And over here I have a whole lot of plums and nectarines, and I've got some acorns. I don't know why that one says valerian. Oh yeah, it's aronia berry. A whole lot of seeds anyway that I'm hoping will grow. I've got a little fig. And some of these look like they've taken and some of them haven't. That one looks like it has. There's a wee blossom hanging out over the back there. And a fun little selection of plants. Hopefully they will grow. And these are my hundreds of tomato seedlings, which I probably need to prick out into something a bit bigger. This is the bit I didn't really think through. We're still getting quite decent frosts, and I've only got so much space on my heated table. And these tomatoes, I think when I prick them out into something bigger, are going to take up a lot more space than I bargained for. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do about that. I might just have to set up some more table space somewhere, and set up like a frost cloth system or something. If you've got any great ideas, please let me know about them. Over here I've got, these are some pittosporum seeds, which actually have a whole lot of landcress weeds growing up in them. But I think that might be Ooh, I think that might be the seedling that I'm actually after. So we will wait and see. I'm trying to pull these out so they don't go to seed and give me a million little landcress babies. You can see I've got some, I'm not sure what they are because I did actually have some seeds in here that never grew. So they might be a weed or they might be something I planted. But these tiny wee ones are manuka, which are a New Zealand native closely related to kanuka. And some weeds. And my little onion babies are growing really well as well. And I'm hoping I've got enough here to do both this place and the next place. And this is how my tunnel house is at the moment. It's got quite a few winter greens, lots and lots of broccoli because my kids love broccoli, some baby cabbages, lettuce, a fennel, a weird selection of food. Someone needs to get out here and do some more weeding. I guess that's me. That's that jolly landcress again. It's everywhere. And I still actually have some tomatoes that are still fruiting and still flowering. I do get the odd ripe fruit from them. But for the most part, I think the frost is finally starting to get in here and is knocking them off. So I probably should just pull them out. And the other thing I really want to get started in here are some sweet potato slips because I plan on growing some of those in the tunnel house at the new place. I have grown them outside under cover here. Usually, traditionally, it's much too cold in summer here for them. We just don't have a long enough, hot enough growing season. I mean, we don't have that much frost, which is awesome, but we also don't, on the contrast, have the heat really to grow those hot weather things. So I'm going to try some in the tunnel house and we'll see how they go. But I do know that the slips take a long time to get going. So I need to buy myself some kumara and get some sweet potato slips started. Because from memory they take a couple of months. Our last frost date is officially about October-ish. But usually in the tunnel house we can start getting things in September. Which is the beginning of spring, which is coming a lot faster than I kind of anticipated. So that's what we're up to at the moment. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for sticking around in this video. And if you want some more information on growing tomatoes, check out these videos over here. And I will catch you in the next one.